going to take place in just a short while from now. Meanwhile, we are also speaking about the fact that there are shellings that are taking place at this point of time. But Donald Trump, he had earlier called this meeting high stakes. He had posted on his social media before arriving here, before leaving for Alaska. In fact, while speaking to the journalist on board the Air Force One, Mr. Donald Trump, he told the reporters that he's not going to Alaska to broker a deal on behalf of Ukraine. He made it very clear. But he also said that instead his goal was getting Mr. Putin to the table. In fact, amid all of this, while Mr. Trump was flying to Alaska, the Ukrainian president, Volodymyr Zelensky, he said that the US president should convince Russia to stop its invasion. It is time to end the war and the necessary steps must be taken by Russia. We are counting on America is what Mr. Volodymyr Zelensky, he had said in that social media post. Meanwhile, India is also looking at these developments very, very closely because the future of this conflict and the duration of this conflict, it also might affect how things unfold in the talks between India and the United States, especially about the tariffs. So the first visuals of the two leaders greeting each other, Donald Trump and the Russian President Vladimir Putin greeting each other. All right, let me go across to Maha Siddiqui, who has been covering this from Alaska. Maha, both the leaders have arrived. Take us through what is happening.
Yes, absolutely. We can see those pictures coming in of the handshake on the tarmac between President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. They are now walking towards the venue. This is on the joint base, the joint military base in the United States. And right behind me, right outside the joint base, if you can see behind me, there are peaceful demonstrators standing here with Ukrainian flags saying, stand with Ukraine. Have a look at this behind me. Right outside the base is where this meeting is taking place. And meanwhile, peaceful demonstrators here making it a point that Ukraine is not wanted as the two big leaders discuss the fate of Ukraine clearly over here. Because we are seeing pictures now of President Putin and President Trump coming in, the second handshake there of the two leaders. I would say some sort of relaxed body language there, Sama. Both are trying to at least depict that they are showing willingness to talk on the peace deal. Remember, President Trump specifically had said that within minutes he will gauge the interest of President Trump in striking a peace deal or not. He's also said that more sanctions could be levied on Russia if they do not show any inclination today of striking a peace deal, and that it could be punishing for Russia. And finally, he's also said that if things don't go his way, he might also just walk out of the meeting. So I've given you all those aspects from inside, from outside the joint military base. Within the next 20 minutes, the meeting will start. The two leaders have now got into a car and they will be moved to the place where, first of all, as per the schedule, there will be a one-on-one meeting between the two leaders, US President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin, followed by a lunch where the delegations of both the sides will join in, followed by a joint press conference at 3:30 p.m. local time, which is 5 a.m. India time. The joint press conference has a placard behind the podium saying "Pursuing Peace." So we are expecting that it will indeed be a joint press conference of the two leaders. There you have pictures of the two leaders sitting in the car there, Osama, on the left-hand side of your television screens. You can see them being taken away in just a bit to a spot where the two leaders will have a one-on-one. That is, they will be talking to each other directly about pursuing peace and ending the war in Ukraine. President Trump has just received President Vladimir Putin in Alaska, in Anchorage, at the joint military base. This is a strategically important military base, a base that is a projection of American power in the region, overseeing both the Arctic region as well as the Pacific, and a region where the economic and security interests of both the countries also intersect. The two leaders now headed towards the place where they will be holding their one-on-one meeting. But the expectation from this meeting is very high. It's a high-stakes meeting, as we have already pointed out, highly anticipated. The Ukrainian president himself this morning has called this meeting a very high-stakes meeting, considering that the fate of Ukraine might be decided. At least the first step will be taken in that direction, though Ukraine has pointed out that there can be no decision on ending the war in Ukraine without the involvement of the country that has been at the receiving end of the aggression from the Russian side. Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump, these are pictures from just a few minutes ago, and you can see both of them shaking hands there. This was the second handshake really for the press there. Before that, just after stepping out of the flight, one handshake there between the two leaders, after which they took that car and have been driven away to a meeting spot. The two leaders are expected to, at least if we go by what the Russian side has indicated, that the meeting might go on for a couple of hours. This will be a one-on-one meeting first, followed by a delegation level meeting as well, and then a joint press conference. Osama?
Speaking about that meeting, Maha, who all are going to be present in that delegation level meeting? We saw Marco Rubio and Mr. Witkoff in that picture earlier. We also saw Mr. Peskov on the other hand. Who all, just give us a sense of who all are going to be part of that delegation level meeting.
So it's interesting that you mentioned Steve Witkoff there. He'd also gone to Moscow, I understand, just at the beginning of this month, before that meeting was announced to take place in Alaska. So the top leaders of both sides might be present in that delegation level meeting. Of course, the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, from the American side will be an important person to be part of the delegation. And Steve Witkoff, because of reasons we have just discussed, on the side of the other side, rather, another top level leaders going to be present there. Those who advise President Putin will all be part of the delegation. We do not know the exact number of people who will be part of the delegation, as in the numbers on both sides. But it is expected that the delegations will come in only after the two leaders have had their one-on-one meeting. So it is critical, first of all, that in-person meeting between the two sides, the one-on-one meeting between the two sides goes off really well, which will then lead to this delegation level meeting and lunch, and finally a joint press conference. Now, again, the joint press conference, even though it says on the platform behind the leaders where they are supposed to stand, pursuing peace, but that pursuing peace will only happen if both the leaders can come to some sort of a common ground on which they will take forward this peace deal. And therefore, it is important that both leaders address this meeting and make clear as to what they have decided, something that Ukraine